Life is full of work and stress. Parenting can be a mess. Being a woman is hard enough without adding on that extra stuff. We'll cover topics of every kind. Helpful resources we will find. We'll even drink a bottle of wine. Join us. It will be a real good time. Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Nikki.
And welcome to Working Mom's Wine, where we drink a bottle of wine.
Delicious wine. While we also whine about our crazy busy working mom lives while trying to come up with resources to help us and you along the way.
That's right. So this time we're doing Apothic Inferno.
And it's an inferno.
I love Apothic wines though.
Yeah, they're very good.
It's so Apothic in general says it's inspired by the Apotheca, a mysterious place where some of the earliest wine was blended and stored. Inferno, a red blend emerges from the flames, creating a most unexpected and masterful encounter. This is true because off air, Nikki took a drink and she goes, "Whoa, what was that?"
Yes. I was like, oh.
Paying tribute to a time-honored craft, this wine has been aged for 60 days in whiskey barrels. Oh, this is my favorite type of wine. Creating bold
That's probably
notes.
why I picked it, to be honest.
Probably. Creating bold notes of red and dark fruit with layers of maple and spice. That also explains the alcohol by volume percentage being 15.9%. Anytime that they age it in a whiskey barrel, I feel like it's a higher alcoholic percentage.
This is the one, ladies. You want that higher alcohol percentage.
That's right. That
When
way
children are running wild, you need the higher alcohol percentage.
And when the doctor says, you need a small glass of wine. Okay, well, this one hits harder. So, yay.
I'm sporting my favorite Schitt's Creek quote.
Eat
today.
glass.
Eat glass.
So today, as part of Financial February, we're going to whine about college and how much it sucks. And how much putting your children through it is going to suck.
Mm-hmm. It sucks because you're thinking, how will I finance my child's college while I am still paying for a majority
For my
of my
own
college?
Yeah. Yep. There's nothing else to add to that one.
I have my undergraduate loans and I have my graduate loans.
Yeah.
And they are just a massive amount that I will probably never pay off before I die.
I'm very lucky there because I only have the undergrad ones.
Oh. Well, not only did I take out those loans, but I was a newlywed at the time, and I took out the max amount of extra to help pay for rent because I was going to school and not working as much.
Right.
So
got to pay for the housing.
Now I'm divorced and I'm still paying back those loans for paying for our apartment. So that's cool. Don't do it, ladies. Appointments. Don't take out loans for joint things when it's in only your name. Don't do it. And just saying.
We learn from our mistakes and try to help the next generation not make them.
We listen and we don't judge.
That's right. So today we're going to try and explore a way that you can help save up for your child or children's education, and hopefully they don't have to take out as many student loans. Mm-hmm. And just as someone who works in the financial industry, I'd like to say something about co-signing real quick.
Oh boy.
We all want the best for our kids, and we want to be there to help them when we can, but for the love of God, do not co-sign on anything, because they are young and they are learning and they are going to drag your credit down. And even if they don't, even if they are nice, responsible children, there are other issues, that can come up. So maybe something happens that's out of their control and it hurts your credit. Or maybe everything's going fine, but you're paying things out of your own bank account and they're paying you back. When you go to buy a house or things like that, they're going to have to act like that's something that you own and not the kid owns. So it's just a better idea overall to just avoid co-signing.
And let's be real, there are a lot of other options nowadays.
True.
When our generation graduated high school, you pretty much had to go to college if you wanted to get a good paying job. That's
what they told you anyway.
Yeah, that's what they told you. That was the path. Now we know for real that there are other options out there that just weren't as well advertised. So there are other options. Don't panic.
Yeah. I can tell you where I work too. Like obviously you can get a job without having a degree. And for
Yeah.
a while it was, well, if you wanted to be in management, you had to have a degree. They realized that does not translate into good management skills. You can be a good manager without having a college degree, and removed that requirement. So there will still be plenty of opportunities. And I'm not saying don't go to college, but there are options.
It depends what you want to do.
Right, exactly. And that's the best thing, is like, look up what you're interested in. For instance, once I figured out that, like, hey, I might actually be interested in computer stuff, which is not what I do right now, but it became clear that college is not the path. You want to go and test for certifications and get the certifications and things like that.
Right.
So,
but for my job, you have to be licensed, and to have a license, you have to have that master's degree.
Right.
So it's like, you got to look at what you want to do, what field you want to be in,
Right.
What makes sense.
Right. So this is going to be mostly Nikki talking today, because she researched all of the 529 changes. So I'm just going to absorb all of this and then apply it to my children.
And let me preface this with, this is very basic, top level review of it. I have some people that I suggest you go follow to learn more. But this is like the basic, this is the changes that have happened that have made it a more appealing option.
And we'll link them down below.
Yeah.
As some of my favorite YouTubers say, in the doobly-doo.
So, of course, I suggest following Call to Leap and Your Rich BFF, which is Vivian too. Those are really great people to follow for financial advice in general, investing advice, how to build your wealth. But they also touch sometimes on how to help your kids. And Vivian even mentions like what you can do before you even have kids, if you're planning to have kids, which is great. So like, she's a newlywed and doesn't have any kids yet, but she is opened a 529 plan and started investing it, because then you can change the beneficiary from herself to the kid. So, if you want to have a family and you want to plan ahead, but then there's things you can do if the kid isn't going to use it for educational purposes, which is the new part of 529, which is what makes it so much better now. Because back in the day, I looked at 529 for Ari when she was born, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it, because it has to be certain institutions for educational purposes, which are very specifically detailed on what you can use the money for and not. And I was like, who knows? Maybe she'll go to vocational, college or school or whatever. Maybe she won't want to go to college at all, and she'll want to use it for a down payment for a house or a car, or who knows. So I didn't want to, put her in a box on how she could spend the money that I was planning to save for her, and of course got disrupted. You know how that goes. Life. So now, in the last year or so, the 529 has updated to where you can take that money later if it doesn't go towards educational purposes. And so much of it you can transfer into a Roth IRA, which of course is like one of the best ways of saving for retirement and that sort of thing. Right. And you can put it in the kid's name. So you build up all this stuff while they're little. They decide they don't want to use it for what it's meant to be spent for. You transfer it into a Roth IRA, and then they have retirement investments started.
How convenient.
So early. Yes, it's beautiful. I love it. So we're going to link a couple videos from Call to Leap and Vivian too in the description below. But basically, I went just to a website. I think it was called Investopedia, like Wikipedia, but for investors, and kind of learn the new rules. So here's the basics.
And if you're watching this anytime outside of February, maybe go back to Investopedia and make sure those are still the rules.
Yes, because it can change quickly.
Yeah.
And these days, all the laws are changing quickly, so you just never know.
True.
Go check it out first. So the new rules for the 529 plan help you pay for education. They've always helped you pay for education and had tax advantages, but recent changes in federal tax law have made them even more attractive for many families. And then it kind of goes on to tell you kind of the key points of what makes it more attractive for you. They can now be used for kindergarten through 12 expenses, not just for college. So maybe you want to go to a private school. Maybe you want to, use money towards that. It's not just for college and other post-secondary education. You can now make tax-free withdrawals from the 529 account to pay for tuition at K to 12 schools. Those withdrawals are limited to $10,000 a year. While for college, you can withdraw whatever amount you need. For K through 12, it's only $10,000 a year. And anything beyond that is taxable and subject to a 10% tax penalty. So beware of that. Another warning that I want to say Call to Leap put in his video was that saving and investing in a 529 plan can change your child's ability to qualify for certain grants when they go to college, because it changes their financial status. So you want to be aware of that too. If you're saving up in a 529 plan and you get all this money going, they may not qualify for certain financial aid anymore. So something to consider. If your 529 is not going to garner that much benefit anyway, then you might as well probably use the financial aid instead.
Yeah. Especially if it's a grant that you don't have to pay back.
Something to consult with a financial advisor over for your personal situation.
Yeah. I just looked it up out of curiosity, and obviously it can vary a lot. But the nationwide average cost of a year of private school is around $13,000. And it says that at
the go up to 10, that's a good hunk of it.
Exactly. And it says that if you just take it to elementary and middle, not including high school, it actually lowers to right below 10. So I bet that's why they set the threshold there.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if you don't have kids yet and you want to open a 529 in your name and then transfer the beneficiary later, it could help you pay for private school education. 529 plans can also now be used for vocational school. Oh. So that's really cool. It used to only be certain accredited universities, and you had to go to the right universities to use it, which was another thing that deterred me from it, because who knows where your kid's going to want to go.
I bet they made these changes because nobody wanted a 529 under those rules.
I mean, let's see. 529 plans can also be used to pay off a portion of student loan debt, as well as for vocational school expenses. So let's say you put yourself as a beneficiary because you don't have kids, and you save up all this money, and maybe you never have kids, or your kid doesn't go to a place where they could utilize it. You can then use a portion of it to pay off your own student loan debt.
I was about to ask if our mom could just open one and pay off her student loan debt. I'll open one for me.
Probably a little late for that, but let me see. The 2019 Setting Every Community Up for Retirement Enhancement Secure Act. It primarily focused on retirement, but it also made several significant changes to the 529 rules, which is where a lot of this came from. So they changed something else, and it kind of had a trickle-down effect and changed this.
That's awesome.
Which is awesome, yeah. 529 proceeds can now be used to pay off some student loan debt for the account beneficiary or their siblings, up to a lifetime maximum of $10,000 per individual. So not all of it, but 10 grand.
Some of it.
A small hunk of it.
I mean, that is a fourth of what I personally have left.
It's better than the none that was before. Yeah. But I would say that would make just such a minuscule dent in what I owe. So
we got really lucky with house sales throughout our lives. I paid off one set of my student loans. Brandon paid off all of his student loans. So we just have my one balance left.
Nice.
It's so nice. But I'm not ever going to leave this house, so we're not going to be able to use that trick again because I love this one. So
yeah, that's what I'm considering now, is like, would it be good to sell to make the profit from when I bought, because it would be significant.
Yeah.
And then knock something out or use it to
pay
for the property I would move into.
So much every time.
Let's see. So up to $35,000 of a 529 account can be rolled into a Roth individual retirement account, or Roth IRA.
That's a pretty good chunk.
Yeah. So it was signed into law in December 2022. Along with other retirement account changes, the law introduces another use for the excess 529 funds, retirement. When the law goes into effect in January 2024, which was a year ago, up to a lifetime max of $35,000 can be transferred to a Roth IRA in the name of the 529 account's beneficiary.
Wow.
So you get to the end, you've got 35 grand in the account. Kid's not going to use it for vocational school or college or whatever. You can transfer it to a Roth IRA in their name, and you don't lose the money that you've invested.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That is a significant benefit. There are some rules, some caveats. The account has to be open for at least 15 years before you can roll the money over. It must be transferred according to the annual Roth IRA contribution limits. So there are limits to how much each person can contribute to their Roth IRA each year. So you might have to do it over a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't roll over the lump sum of $35,000. Instead, you have to take several years to fund the total amount. But it's still better than losing it or not being able to use it.
Right,
so
right.
That's kind of the gist of the changes to the 529 plan. I think they're great. My favorite part is that you can use it for vocational school now, because I think we're getting to a point in society where we're learning more and more that these are the, what did they call it during COVID? When you
essential.
Essential roles.
It runs the world.
You have to have someone who can fix your air conditioner and your heater, mm-hmm. who can understand plumbing and electronics in your home.
There was a time where all these industries were looked down on.
Yeah.
And trash collection and things like that. All of them were looked down on. It's like, why? These are services we need. Mm-hmm. And if someone wants to do it, let them do it.
Yeah. And it can be a great option. I dated someone who, in their, earlier relationships, got someone pregnant and realized that they needed to be able to fund a family suddenly, mm-hmm. and at a young age. And college wasn't an option because it took too long to be able to make money.
Yeah.
And he was able to go to vocational school, learn a trade, and be paid well earlier. And so he was able to, fund his family in the way that he needed to. And it can be a really great option. And it's also, the skills are not easy. They are difficult to understand and to learn and to know. And we need people who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Or we're going to become a nation who doesn't have heating and cooling,
right.
doesn't have plumbing. People need to know these skills and these trades.
Right. Like people will just assume that it's like, oh, anybody could do it. And then you start like maybe trying to do a DIY and you're like, nope.
Then you go take the cover off your furnace and you look at it and you're like,
And then you see all those stickers about how you're going to die if you don't do it right.
Don't touch this. Don't touch that.
I will leave that to the experts. Thank you.
Right.
So yeah, there's different things, different types of schooling to get to the different careers that you want. Like, mm-hmm. and they're all needed.
Yeah. It takes a lot of different kinds of people to make the world go round.
Yeah.
So, find what you're good at, what you enjoy, what intrigues you.
That's right.
And then look at what kind of roles you could have from that. And then look at what kind of training you need from that. And just know that it's never too late. A lot of people our age go back to school for a totally different career. Know that whatever you choose isn't permanent. It's not a life sentence.
Nothing in life is permanent these days.
So if you need a quicker answer, go to vocational school. If you, have a certain passion and you need a certain kind of license or, level of training, go to college and get that. But look at all your options and, start saving for your kids if you want to have them.
Yeah. I tell people that at my job a lot, or I'll tell the kids that. I know this is the thing you want to do, but especially at my job, there's a lot of things where people are like, they're looking at jobs that are going to be mostly or 100% commission, but they want to buy right away.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, listen, I know this is your dream. Maybe do it part-time on the side while you also work a full-time job that we can use right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to buy your house, and then you get to go do the thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
So, and I'll tell the kids that too, mostly because they say, well, I want to be a YouTuber. Okay. I'm not going to tell you you can't, and I'm not going to dash your hopes with the facts that like everyone wants to do these things and only a small percentage get to.
Yeah.
But I am going to tell you that you should have something steady in the meantime,
mm-hmm.
and then you can work towards your dream also. And when the dream takes off, quit the steady thing.
In order to get even licensed for my career, I had to work a full-time job and be an intern that was unpaid and be supervised, and I had to pay someone to supervise me.
Yeah. Can we just end unpaid internships?
It's crazy.
Come on, guys.
It's insane. So it's like, okay, well, in my 20s, I worked full-time and had an internship and paid someone to supervise me and studied for the licensure exam. I had no idea how I did it. I have no idea. I was able to meet someone through that job who supervised me pro bono. So I did not have to pay for my supervision.
Thank you, whoever did that.
Kathleen. Shout out to you.
Thanks, Kathleen. We love you.
She was so sweet and so kind, and she walked me all through it and signed all the forms I needed. And
That's awesome.
It was great. But I would say a majority of people in my job don't get that. They have to pay, like, basically you pay a therapist their hourly rate to sit with you and supervise your hours. We could do pet updates.
Oh no, yours is sad.
Okay, so my bestest buddy crossed the Rainbow Bridge yesterday.
Yeah.
It's hard, but he was ready and I was ready. And he's old. He lived a good long life.
He was so
And he was
old.
spoiled rotten. So, it's the best you can hope for when you have a pet.
Yeah. And the whole thing was peaceful.
It was very peaceful.
I warned the kids. I was like, hey, Spaz passed the other day. If Ari's like upset.
That's a funny story we could share when I came in today. Did you hear Jack?
No, but I can guarantee you he said something inappropriate because Brandon immediately was like, just watch what you guys say. Be sensitive.
It was great. I walked in and I had Rory with me in a little carry bag, and I never bring my dogs because they have potty issues and I don't want to ruin the new house, So I never bring my dogs. I brought Rory because I don't want her to be alone after all this. She's only ever known life with Spaz, So I brought her. Jack was like, oh, you brought your other dog because your first dog died.
Oh my God.
He died. And he kept saying it so loud and so emphatic. And Ellie was like, shh,
shut
Jack,
up.
stop. And I said, it's okay. He's literally doesn't get it. But it was so funny.
Wow.
It was so funny.
I missed that.
That was my pet transition.
Yes.
Your pet transition is a happy one.
It's a happy one. We got a little... He's white and orange, and she's white and orange, so it's going to be a little difficult.
It's a cute new kitty.
We had a cat that had an untimely passing in our lives, and she was just old enough to remember this cat. And ever since then, she's been asking for another kitty.
I want a cat, Mom. I want a cat.
Yeah. And we have a almost old as Spaz dog in our lives, and poor Oliver, we're just like, let's let him have a peaceful life, and he can pass, and then we can get another pet.
Let him be the center for a little bit.
Oliver just keeps hanging on, so that's fine. I enjoy his company.
The breed that keeps on giving.
He really is. If you want a dog that is immortal, get a Morkie. Mm-hmm. I found a lady where she's been rescues, and she helps them get back to good health and then adopts them out. Mm-hmm. Eliana had told me that she wanted either a black cat or a calico cat. And I'm like, okay, this lady had a black cat. And she's like, this cat has a very sweet disposition. It is my dad's favorite. They both work together to foster pets. And I felt a little bad at that. I was like, maybe this should just be like the cat that never gets adopted and becomes his cat because he loves it so much. But we went and we met the cat, and there were other cats, including this orange cat. And she just decided that since she was a ginger, she wanted the ginger cat. And there are some of you out there right now probably screaming right now because orange cat reputations.
I had an orange cat.
You're either going to have a complete psycho or a one brain cell cat. And I think the only
thing...
one
like mine who was complete psycho and then became one brain cell.
True. So I think the only thing that saved us is the fact that he's not 100% orange. He's 25 to 50% orange, and then he's got some white fur too. Maybe there's some other thing going on there. He's rather normal, but she really enjoys his company. His name is Phoenix. He's about 5 months old, and even Oliver is they met each other, and he's just all right,
okay,
whatever.
Ari got all dressed and came down, and she was wearing a dress with some of her thicker leggings on and a long sleeve sweater below her.
Oh, yes.
And she said, I got dressed and covered as much skin as possible so the cat can't scratch me.
She said that when she got here too. She's like, I covered everything.
And she harasses the cat, so it probably does scratch at her.
Well, anyway. As always, thank you for joining us. You can find us on all social medias as Working Moms Whine, patreon.com/workingmomswhine, workingmomswhine.com, and we will see you next time.
Bye.